They thought it was just a signal, some strange, flickering pattern from a dead world with no name. But what if that light wasn't a call for help, but a warning to stay away? When Captain Michelle Reyes and her team set foot on the planet's surface, they didn't just uncover an alien structure. They walked straight into a trap built not to hold something in, but to keep something out. Something ancient, something hungry. And now, it knows they're here. What began as a simple mission becomes a fight for survival against a creature that feeds on awareness itself. But the most terrifying part, it doesn't need to chase you. All it needs is for you to look. Before we start, aliens hide the answer in plain sight. Can you outsmart them? Crack the pinned comments question to prove humanity's brain power reigns supreme. Watch every second, or let the cosmos laugh at us. I'll be waiting your answer. Oh yes, please, please and please. Hit that car button in the top right corner to subscribe now. And be sure to ring the notification bell so you never miss a single one of our epic daily stories the moment they drop. Let's dive into the story. No one expected the signal to come from a planet with no name. The stars outside the observation deck of the USS Starling shimmered like frozen diamonds, but inside, tension hummed in the air. Captain Michelle Reyes stood with her arms crossed, watching the data stream roll across the transparent screen. Her sleek, dark blue suit hugged her toned figure, the glow from the screen highlighting the sharp edges of her cheekbones. Her hazel eyes, sharp and focused, narrowed at the flickering symbols that danced across the interface like a coded language from a dream. "It's been doing this for 6 hours," said Ava Chun from behind her, sounding more irritated than curious. Either it's a distress call, or the planet's having a really weird light show. Jack Rowan, the ship's second-in-command and resident smartmouth, strolled in with a half-eaten protein bar in hand. He was tall, fit, and annoyingly relaxed, with sandy blonde hair that refused to stay in regulation style. "Maybe it's Morse code for 'we ran out of coffee,'" Jack quipped. That'd explain the desperation. Ava rolled her eyes. "You joke now, but I've seen transmission patterns like this before. Something's trying to talk to us." "Talk? It's blinking, Ava. That could be anything. Faulty magnetic field. Cosmic burp. You know, science stuff." He smirked. Michelle didn't move. Her voice was calm, but tight. "Whatever it is, it's repeating. Every 17 minutes. Same sequence, same rhythm. That's not random." The silence settled again, heavier this time. The crew watched as the transmission repeated once more. A soft pulse of white light, then green, then a sharp red flash. Michelle turned. "Jack, prep a shuttle. We're going down." Jack raised an eyebrow. "Captain, you serious? We don't even know what kind of atmosphere we're dealing with. Could be toxic. Could be meat-melting levels of radiation. We won't find out sitting up here, will we?" Michelle replied. Her voice didn't rise, but it didn't have to. Ava stepped forward. "I'll go with her. I've calibrated the environmental scanners. The air is breathable, at least by our standards. Gravity's a little heavy, but manageable." Michelle gave a single nod. "Good. Suit up. Launch in 10. As the two women turned to leave, Jack called after them. "Try not to bring back anything that wants to eat us." Michelle glanced back with a sly smirk. "We'll save the fun stuff for you." 10 minutes later, the shuttle detached with a low hum, descending toward the silent planet bathed in shadows and storm clouds. The light pulses grew stronger as they approached. Michelle stared down at the surface, her fingers tightening around the edge of her seat. "Doesn't feel like a welcome party," Ava murmured. "No," Michelle said softly. "Feels like a warning. Or a trap." Neither of them noticed the tiny tremor that ran through the ship as the light reached its final red flash. Somewhere in the depths of the planet, something shifted, awake for the first time in a long, long time. The shuttle touched down with a soft jolt on the rocky surface, kicking up swirls of gray dust that shimmered under the ship's landing lights. Outside the thick glass, the terrain stretched endlessly. Jagged rocks, strange ridges, and glowing lines etched into the earth like ancient circuitry. The blinking lights they'd followed pulsed stronger here, rising from beneath the ground in rhythm, like a heartbeat buried under stone. Michelle unfastened her harness and stood, her suit flexing smoothly with her movements. She grabbed her helmet, eyes focused and determined. "You sure about this?" Ava asked, already checking her scanner. Her sleek suit, charcoal black with silver lining, hugged her like a second skin, reflecting the blue lights of the control panel. Michelle's voice was steady. "Too late to change my mind now." As the ramp lowered, a deep silence swallowed them. Not the normal silence of emptiness, but something heavier, like the planet itself was holding its breath. "Creepy," Ava muttered. "Feels like we just stepped into a tomb." "Then let's hope the tomb's unoccupied," Michelle replied, walking ahead. They followed the lights, which now formed a pathway, pulsing forward, turning with deliberate precision through the cracked terrain. Ava's scanner buzzed in short bursts. "No life forms," she said. "No text signatures either. It's like the lights are being projected. But from what?" Michelle didn't answer. She crouched near one of the glowing lines and touched the rock. It was warm, not from the sun. There wasn't one in sight, but from within. Suddenly, the ground trembled. "Did you feel that?" Ava asked, eyes wide. Michelle rose slowly. "Yeah, that wasn't a quake. That was something moving." The trembling stopped just as quickly as it started, and ahead of them, a strange structure began to rise from the ground. It unfolded silently, sleek and seamless, like liquid metal shaping itself into a dome. "That wasn't there 5 seconds ago," Ava said, stepping back. "Nope," Michelle replied, her voice calm, but her fingers inching toward the weapon on her hip. They approached the dome cautiously. It stood about 15 feet tall, completely smooth except for a circular opening in the front. "No doors, no paneles, just a space, open and inviting." "Think it's safe?" Ava asked. "Nothing about this is safe," Michelle said, "but it wants us to go in, so let's go find out why." As they stepped into the structure, the walls began to shimmer. The air turned colder, and in the center stood a figure. Tall, silent, silver-skinned and motionless. Michelle raised her weapon instinctively. "Identify yourself." The figure didn't move, but in a flash of blue light, a transparent barrier snapped into place behind them, sealing the entrance. "What the hell?" Ava shouted, spinning around. Michelle's heart pounded as she took a step forward, eyes locked on the figure. It remained still, watching. "I don't think we walked into a trap," Michelle said slowly. Ava turned to her. "Then what did we walk into?" Michelle's eyes narrowed. "A cage." The figure stood motionless at the center of the glowing dome, its silver skin gleaming like polished chrome under the soft blue light. It was tall, easily over 7 feet, with elongated limbs, a narrow, almost regal head, and no visible eyes or mouth. But something about it felt aware. Too aware. Michelle kept her weapon trained, her voice firm. "Don't move." The figure didn't flinch. Instead, small pulses of light began to blink along a slim band circling its neck, green, blue, then white. The pulses grew faster, more complex. Ava stepped closer, her scanner raised. "It's communicating," she whispered, "but not through sound. These pulses, they're like a language." Michelle didn't lower her weapon. "Can you translate?" "Working on it," Ava said, fingers flying across her device. "Whatever this is, it's not binary. It's way more advanced. Layers of meaning in every flash, like it's thinking in colors." The alien suddenly lifted a hand, slowly, no threat, and pressed its palm to its chest. Then, it pointed toward the transparent wall behind them. "Yeah, buddy, we noticed," Michelle muttered. "Thanks for the heads up." The alien tilted its head slightly, then tapped the band around its neck. The pulses slowed. One final flash, soft gold. Ava's scanner buzzed. "Got something," she said. "Rough translation. I'm not your enemy. I protect you." Michelle finally lowered her weapon just an inch. "Protect us from what?" No answer, just silence. and watching. Ava circled the interior, studying the smooth walls. This place is not built like a trap. There are no weapons, no restraints, nothing hostile. It's sterile, controlled. Like a quarantine, Michelle said under her breath. Outside, the blinking path they'd followed began to fade. One light at a time. Michelle turned sharply. That's not good. What if those lights were the only thing keeping us connected to the shuttle? Then we better find another way out, Ava said, or figure out why he brought us in. The alien moved then, just a few steps forward. Calm, intentional. It stopped a few feet from them and turned, raising its arm. A swirling image appeared in the air, projected from its band. A map of the planet? No, Michelle said, narrowing her eyes. That's not just the surface. That's underground. Ava zoomed in on her scanner. There are structures buried miles beneath us. Caverns, machines, maybe even cities. Michelle stared at the alien. You're not alone here, are you? The figure didn't react. Ava stepped closer to the image, frowning. Captain, there's something else. What? This pattern. It's all connected to one central node. And it's pulsing, just like the message we picked up in orbit. Michelle's eyes locked onto the figure. It wasn't a distress call. Ava blinked. Then what was it? Michelle's voice dropped to a whisper. A warning. The moment Michelle whispered the word warning, the lights on the alien's band shifted again. This time pulsing a deep, ominous red. The projection vanished, and the figure stepped back into the shadows near the wall, almost as if it were retreating from something only it could sense. Ava glanced at Michelle, eyes wide. Okay, I really don't like red. Neither do I, Michelle muttered. He just shut everything off. Why now? Suddenly, a crackling sound echoed through the dome. Not from inside, but from somewhere beneath them. A low rumble followed, then a vibration that rolled under their feet like a slow-moving wave. The alien didn't react. It simply raised its hand again and pressed its palm to the wall behind it. Another light flickered to life. A thin line of glowing text scrolled across the dome's interior in a language neither woman could read. Michelle turned toward Ava. Can your scanner do anything with that? Already trying, Ava said, fingers dancing. Give me a minute. We might not have one. The rumble grew stronger, distant but unmistakable, like something massive shifting through the crust of the planet. Ava's scanner beeped. Okay, rough translation again, but I think it says, you open the door. Now it knows. Michelle's voice dropped. Knows what? That we're here, Ava replied, swallowing hard. Captain, I think something's coming. From the shadows, the alien's band pulsed once. Then it walked to the far side of the dome and extended its hand toward the floor. With a hiss, a second chamber slid open, narrow, darker, lined with panels that glowed faint blue. Michelle frowned. Is he telling us to follow? Looks like it. I don't trust him. Do we have another option? Michelle hesitated, then nodded. Stay close. Don't touch anything unless I say. The two women stepped into the corridor, the walls gently illuminating with each step. The alien followed silently behind them, its presence quiet but oddly reassuring. They walked for almost a minute before the hallway ended in a large circular room filled with floating symbols and hovering crystal-like structures. In the center stood a transparent platform, suspended over an open shaft that vanished into darkness below. What is this place? Ava whispered. The alien raised its hand, and the symbols spun rapidly. An image formed, stars, planets, and then a massive black void surrounded by what looked like curling tendrils of light and shadow. Michelle stared. That's not a place. That's something alive. The image pulsed once. Then it zoomed in. A shape emerged, long, jagged, with too many limbs and a mouth that looked like it had never closed. Ava stumbled back. Nope. That's a monster. That's a thing from nightmares. What the hell is that? The alien's light pulsed slowly. Ava's scanner translated. Predator. Michelle's voice dropped. and we just told it where dinner is. Back aboard the USS Starling, alarms shrieked across the command deck. Corporal Drew Banner stormed into the control room, heavy boots thudding against the floor. "Where's the captain?" he barked, sweat glistening on his forehead. Jack Rowan turned slowly in his chair, still chewing on the end of a protein bar. "Down on the planet, where you were not invited." Drew shoved past him. "Well, someone needs to be up here doing something. That signal down, there's a threat, and Reyes is too close to it." Jack leaned back, arms behind his head. "She can handle herself. Unlike you, she doesn't freak out every time the lights flicker." "They've been flickering, Jack. Something's jamming our sensors. We've lost visual, telemetry, everything." "Yeah," Jack said, standing now. "That's why we don't send hot-headed grunts charging in without orders." Drew's jaw clenched. "So we just sit here and hope whatever's down there doesn't kill them?" "We sit here and trust the captain," Jack snapped. "Something you clearly forgot how to do." A loud bang echoed through the ship, and the lights dipped into red. Both men turned. "What was that?" Drew demanded. Before Jack could answer, the ship's AI crackled to life. "Warning, hull breach detected. Deck C, sealing blast doors." The overhead lights flickered again, then dimmed, leaving the control room bathed in a cold, eerie glow. Back on the planet, deep inside the alien structure, Michelle's earpiece buzzed with static. She tapped it. "Jack, come in." "Nothing." She glanced at Ava. "Communications just died." Ava swallowed hard. "We're cut off." The alien stepped forward, projecting another image, this time of the Starling above them. A dark shape, massive and amorphous, crept across space behind the ship. It didn't move like a ship or a creature. It moved like shadow poured into form, always shifting. Michelle's breath caught in her throat. "Oh God, it followed us." Ava stared at the image, voice trembling. "It's in orbit." "No," Michelle said softly, eyes wide. "It's already on the ship." The alien's lights flashed, slow and heavy. The translator kicked in. "It feeds on awareness." Ava frowned. "What does that mean?" The alien turned toward her, then Michelle. Another pulse. "It comes when it is seen." Michelle looked down at the floor, then back at the shape. "We triggered the signal. We made ourselves visible." A distant metallic groan echoed from deep within the ground. Michelle turned sharply. "That sound." The alien raised one arm. A protective shimmer pulsed around the room. The dome, the cage, was reactivating. "It's shielding us," Ava whispered. Michelle stared at the alien. "All this time, this wasn't a prison." "No," Ava said quietly. "It was a bunker." Michelle clenched her fists. "If that thing's already on the Starling, we have to warn them." Another image flashed. Jack's face, frozen in the control room, the lights behind him dimming to black. And then, the transmission cut to static. Jack stood alone on the dimly lit bridge of the USS Starling, gripping the edge of the console as the emergency lights pulsed red. The power systems flickered, casting eerie shadows that twisted across the walls. The crew was scattered, most trapped behind sealed bulkheads. Drew was nowhere to be found. Last seen sprinting down a corridor, rifle in hand and panic in his voice. "Computer," Jack muttered. "Patch me through to the captain." "Now." Communication offline. The AI replied in a flat tone. "Signal interference detected." Jack slammed his fist on the panel. "Damn it." Then he heard it, soft at first, like a whisper sliding down the walls. A scratching noise, long, slow, getting closer. He turned around. Nothing was there. "Okay," he muttered, backing toward the weapons locker. "That's fine. Totally fine. Just a little haunted spaceship moment. No big deal." The lights flickered again. This time, when they came back on, there was something at the far end of the corridor outside the bridge. A shape, tall, thin, shimmering like smoke caught in glass. Jack's breath caught. Oh no. It tilted its head slowly, though it had no eyes, no face, only smooth, shifting surface. It began to move. Jack grabbed the pulse rifle from the locker, flipped off the safety, and fired without thinking. The shot passed through the figure. No reaction. Then it was gone. Not fled, just vanished. He turned back to the console. Reyes, wherever you are, you better have a damn plan. Down on the planet, Michelle was pacing. Her fists were clenched, jaw tight. There's got to be a way to contact the ship without the standard comms. Ava scrolled through her scanner. We could try routing a burst through the alien tech, but we need to override the shielding, which would drop the cage. Ava hesitated. Yeah. Michelle looked at the alien, who watched them without blinking, unmoving. She stepped toward him. You said it feeds on awareness. Does that mean the more we see it, the stronger it gets? A slow pulse. The translator lit up. Yes. So if we hide, we're safe. But the moment we look, it hunts. Michelle exhaled slowly. We need to blind it. The alien lifted his hand again. This time, a glowing crystal hovered into the air between them. Its light bent oddly, warping the space around it. What is that? Ava asked, stepping back slightly. The translator beeped. Bait. Michelle's eyes narrowed. You want to lure it here? Another pulse. Here. It cannot survive. Ava looked stunned. You built this place because of it. Michelle turned to her. He's been hiding for a long time. Maybe too long. Ava stepped beside her. If this works, we might save the ship. Michelle looked up at the swirling sky beyond the dome. Then let's make it see us. The bait crystal hovered in the air, humming low like a distant storm. Its light pulsed brighter with every second, sending waves of distortion rippling through the dome. Michelle stood motionless, staring up through the transparent ceiling as clouds gathered unnaturally fast. Ava stood beside her, fingers clutched around the side of her scanner, knuckles white. Whatever that thing is, it knows we're calling it now, Ava whispered. Good, Michelle said. Let it come. The alien, silent all this time, stepped back, his lights flashing steadily. He held the device in his palm, smaller than a fist, with a shifting core that glowed a soft gold. Michelle glanced at it. What is that? The translator flickered once. Key. To what? The alien paused. Me. A sudden crack split the sky. The stars vanished. Blackness poured downward like ink, coiling through the air above the dome. It wasn't falling, it was crawling as if gravity bent around it. The shape expanded, and within its shifting body, teeth shimmered like glass, vanishing and reappearing with every blink. Ava's voice trembled. Oh no, Jack's still on the ship. Michelle's jaw tightened. We get through this. Then we go for him. The creature coiled tighter, circling the dome like a vulture made of night. The bait crystal pulsed once, then turned a brilliant white. That's when it struck. The shadow hurled itself toward the dome with a sound like shattering metal. The entire structure shook, but it held. Michelle staggered, but didn't fall. She looked at the alien. Is it enough? He stepped forward, raising the device in his hand. His lights flared, bright, urgent. You must choose. What does that mean? Ava asked. The translator flickered again. Energy, only enough for one. Destroy it, or protect the ship. Michelle froze. Are you serious? Her voice cracked. We can't do both. The alien said nothing. Ava looked at her. Captain, Jack's still up there. Maybe more. But if we don't end this thing... Michelle stared at the swirling darkness. The monster slammed into the dome again, harder, faster. The crystal shook. We finish it here, she said, eyes fierce, or it follows us forever. The alien nodded. Michelle turned to Ava. When I say now, drop the shield. Got it. The alien's core device began to spin faster, humming like it was tearing the air apart. Michelle raised her hand. Now! The shield dropped in a flash, and the creature lunged. It crossed the boundary line just as the alien activated the device. A pulse shot out, soundless but felt deep in their bones. The air snapped, light bent, and the creature screamed. It wasn't a sound, it was a sensation like time itself recoiling. The dome flared blinding white. And then, silence. The sky was empty. The creature was gone. Michelle exhaled slowly, her legs nearly giving out. Ava grabbed her arm. "We did it," the alien stepped forward. Slowly, he removed the glowing band from around his neck. What lay beneath made Ava gasp. There was no skin, no bone, just scarred, raw metal, machinery fused to what once might have been flesh. Michelle's eyes widened. "You were human," the translator pulsed one final time. "I was like you, until it took everything." Michelle stepped closer, voice soft. "Then why stay behind?" The alien looked at her with something almost like sorrow. "So no one else becomes me." The crystal dimmed. The shield reactivated. Far above, the USS Starling powered back online. Michelle lifted her comm. "Jack, we're coming home." Here is the story ends. If you enjoyed and want to watch more thrilling sci-fi adventures, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Dive into epic battles, explore distant galaxies, and join brave heroes as they fight for survival against impossible odds. Let us know in comments if you want next chapters to publish soon. Hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and become part of the journey. Together, we'll keep the last light burning. Subscribe now and let the adventure continue.